This is going to be a demo of Dianza's S30 SkyPanels. Dianza has two of these S30 SkyPanels, which can be great flexible LED lights to use on sets, as well as an S60 SkyPanel that is available for use in the soundstage. Other than a bit more output on the S60, they are very similar. Taking a look at the box that comes with the S30 SkyPanel, you have the ballast or power brick for the light itself, the power cables hidden back here, and a support to put the power supply or ballast on the back of the light. Let's take a look at setting this up now. So now I'm going to grab this light, it's a little bit heavy, and put it on the top of a C-stand here and tighten it in. Since this is a heavier light, make sure to be careful that the C-stand or light stand you're using it with can handle the weight. So typically, don't have it go far out on an arm, and try to use a beefy baby if possible, and don't use standard light stands. Looking at the back of the light, we can see the power here. This 48 volt power is going to be from the power supply itself. And then there's other connections for like DMX, networking, and other features that won't be used. Moving to the top here is the screen and control panel that's going to be used for controlling lights, and we'll go over functions of that in a second. Then I'm going to get over this little clip here, which I can slide onto the side here from these little holes, and then screw and unscrew or tighten and loosen it as needed to slide it across. And then when I get it somewhere like, I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to lock it down, and then I can take the power supply and, like other lights, put one end in here, put the other end here, make sure it's clipped down and tight before letting go. Up here in this container is the cables itself. There's two cables. One is a XLR cable that goes from the power supply here to the actual light. It's long enough so you can put this somewhere else if you'd like it. But since I'm going to put this on the light, I'm going to make sure it's wrapped up neatly and isn't going to get in the way of anything. So I'm just going to wrap it up a little bit here. And then plug into this connector I talked about earlier on the bottom. The other light plugs into the power supply and then goes into the wall and uses a speak-on power connector and goes into this in one. The longer segment here goes into the in, and you push it in, you turn a bit until it clicks, and then it locks in. I'm then going to go plug it into the wall. What's the wall? Now that it's plugged in, if I want to turn it on, I'm going to first turn on the power supply here. The light should turn on. The light should turn blue if ready, and then after a couple seconds, the light's going to turn on. By default, this light's going to turn into its black and white mode. So on the left knob that says intensity selector, if I turn it, I can dim it from 0% or low power like 0.1%, which it's on now, all the way up to 100%, which is a good amount of light. This middle knob will adjust color temperature from pretty warm to very cool. And then I have a green magenta shift, which can be used to adjust the green magenta shift. I can also change the modes of this light by going into menu, by clicking on this mode button in the top right, and I can go from that CCT control, which is just different variations of white, into HSI for hue, saturation, and intensity. So I can change hue, for example, to change colors from anything in the rainbow, and saturation to make it more or less saturated of a color. I can also use gel modes. I would fake putting a gel on something like an incandescent light. Typically I like using the CCT mode more. Or I can use many other different ways to control the lights on how I want. The one other function on this light that might be interesting for a shoot is by pressing the menu button, using the left knob to scroll down, and then pressing in on the left knob to go into the lighting effects, and then I can adjust a lot of effects, like for example, let's do cop car, to fake something like a cop car with a light like this. And there is a lot of different options on here, like fire, cop car, strobing lights, paparazzi, and more. So this is a RGB fixture that does white very well, and it also does effects if you want to do effects on this light. And in order to exit, I could just press mode. If I want to exit that, I can go to lighting effects, scroll to the top again, go to off, and it'll just work like a normal light, and I can cycle it through the different modes again, and go back to CCT for a standard white light. When I'm done with this light, I'm going to turn it off. Since it's an LED, it typically doesn't get very hot, so I can just put it back in its box, and then nicely wrap up the cables and put it where I found it.